Hello, 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 my loves. As always, I hope that this live or this replay finds you well and in excellent spirits. Happy Monday, and welcome to another edition of the weekly Astro Forecast live here in the Astro Room on YouTube. I am your host and your favorite astrologer, Mel of Divine Feminine Works, where I help people unlock their divinity and discover their magic. So if this is our first time meeting, welcome. And as always, if you are returning, welcome back. So this channel is everything astrology, spirituality, and manifestation. So if those are the things you like, if those are the things you love, or if those are the things you want to learn more about, don't forget to hit that subscribe button as well as that notification bell so you'll always be notified when I come out with new content. All right, my loves. So this is the weekly astro forecast for the week of April 28th through May 4th, 2025. All right, so how are we feeling today? We are still in the energy of the new moon in Taurus, and everything about the next 2 days really is planting. So it's really important that you think about what seeds you actually want to plant, okay? And that sounds sort of overly simplistic, right? It's new moons when we plant new seeds, set new intentions. And so there's a goal that you have, something that you want, and you plant those seeds. Bing, bong, boom, right? It's a little, I'm not going to say it's a little more complicated than that. It's a little more nuanced than that. All right. And so I'm going to get into that in a second. But if you want to know more, or everything I should say, about the new moon in Taurus, we're still under the energy of that. I just dropped a video the other day about it. Link will be in the description box below so you can catch it if you haven't already. All right. But before I get into the details of this week, which thankfully is not looking that bad, we still have some really challenging astrological energy to work through, and I'll get into that in a second. But it's kind of a light week, astrologically speaking. Not much going on, but what is going on is kind of interesting in a way because this week the universe is kind of reiterating something. The universe is kind of like, listen, I said what I said it again, and now I'm saying it for the final time. All right. So, again, before I get into all of those wonderful details, housekeeping and announcements. So, if you are joining me here on the live, thank you so much for tuning in. I sincerely appreciate you. Say hi on your way in and hit that like button, subscribe button, and notification bell if you haven't already. Please and thank you. It's the best way to help out the channel. It signals to the algorithm that you like this content, so it will disseminate it to others who may like it as well. And again, that's the best way to help out the channel. The other best way to help out the channel is by joining the channel as a channel member. All right, you get access to exclusive content, early release content, plus you get discount on, at least on one of the tiers, you get a discount on all of my products and services. So the information for that will be in the description box below. All right. And if you're watching this on the replay, I appreciate you just as much. Hopefully you get what you're looking for in this broadcast, whether it is information, confirmation, illumination, enlightenment. You just want to know more about astrology. Hopefully you find at least one of those things here. And if that is the case, hit that like button, subscribe button, and notification bell as well. Thank you. All right. So in terms of announcements, I am really excited about this because Spirit always has me moving in really interesting ways. I will plan things. I'm a Virgo sun, so I'm very analytical. I plan things. I like to map out what I'm going to do, and then Spirit will just hit me like a thunderbolt with a certain thing. Right. And so I am excited to announce that tomorrow at 9:30 a.m., I will be launching what I like to call Divine Dollars Taurus Season Wealth Map. All right. I am in love with this because this is something that I actually started doing for myself. And now I'm excited to be able to offer it to you guys, particularly right now because we are in Taurus season. So this service is twofold. So first, it is a personalized reading. So based on your natal chart and the transits, I will do a personalized Taurus season recorded reading for you. So you not only know what's going on for this season, but you get a lay of the land in terms of money. Okay. Money is a hot button topic right now with everything going on, and Taurus is all about money. So, for you to understand where you're at right now financially as it pertains to the cosmos, that's what the reading is for. All right. And then, second, you get my newest digital product, which is called the Wealth Garden. So it's essentially a database where you can track your goals and your intentions. There's information on Taurus season, there's affirmations, journal prompts. It's chock full of everything that you need right now in order to get on the right track in terms of wealth and abundance. It's really dope. I'm really proud of it. And so these two things together comprise this Taurus season wealth map. All right. And again, it's launching tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. Eastern time. Get it while it's hot. Until Friday, it will be discounted. And then for the rest of Taurus season, it will remain at regular price. So stay tuned. The link will be everywhere, right? So take advantage because, like I said, this is the kind of work I do for myself. Looking at my birth chart and the transits and figuring out, all right, how is my money being affected this month? Or what sort of emotional issues are coming up that could affect my money? Or if I'm trying to launch something, or if I'm trying to revamp something, how is that looking? Right? So the personal reading will address all of your concerns with respect to money, wealth, and abundance. And then you get that dope ass digital product that you can use anywhere so that you can track your intentions. You can do a whole bunch of stuff. Like, it's really, really dope. Okay, my light is, let's see if that works better now. Okay, right. So again, that launches tomorrow. And then I've got something else, which I've launched already. But if you are someone who is really interested in understanding how to work with the moon, how the moon affects you, especially as a woman, then you'll definitely want to cop my Lunar Living Starter Pack. And again, this is another digital product. It is a Notion template that gives you information on the menstrual cycle, tracking the moon, affirmations, journal prompts. Like, it is chock full of everything that you would need in order to start aligning with the moon. And it's absolutely free. All right. So if you're interested in that, that has launched already, and the link is in the description box below. All right. And so both of these things are indicative of a lot of new things to come. Okay, I'm really excited about the direction that Divine Feminine Works is headed in. And these two offerings are sort of just a teaser with what is to come. All right, so there's a lot more where that came from. All right, so definitely check everywhere tomorrow for those links. And hopefully you take advantage, because knowing is half the battle. Honestly, knowing what's going on, how you are personally affected, the current astrological energy, all of that put together allows you to make informed decisions, or at least allows you to understand what is going on right now. Okay. And speaking of what's going on right now, like I said, we're still in the energy of this Taurus new moon, right? And Taurus is all about planting. And so planting, especially in a Taurian kind of vibe, has a lot to do with material things. It's like Taurus rules money, it rules the five senses, material possessions, all of that stuff falls under the realm of Taurus. And so typically when we have a new moon in Taurus, everyone is like, this is when you should manifest money. This is when you should manifest, big ticket items and things like that. But it goes a lot deeper than that. The sister sign to Taurus is Scorpio, and Scorpio is everything under the surface. So while superficially everything is about money and material possessions, that Taurus Scorpio axis is like, all right, I want money, I want abundance, I want wealth, but do I believe I'm worth it? Self-worth is a very big component of Taurus energy. And a lot of times that gets swept under the rug, right? Because Taurus is seen as materialistic and superficial and all of those things, right? However, all of those things mean nothing. And none of those things are sustainable without a healthy sense of self-worth. You could want all the money in the world. You could even amass all the money in the world. But if you don't believe that you deserve it, it'll be very hard to hold on to it. Okay. And I bring this up specifically because on Saturday, we had a very volatile transit. And if you follow me on Instagram, which you should, by the way, If you followed me on Instagram, I did a quick little live about this transit, and it was essentially Mars opposite Pluto. And it was about violence, volatility, fighting, conflict, combat, all of those things, right? And so, in the midst of this new moon in Taurus, when it's all about planting, like I said before, we've got like dumpster fires happening everywhere. We've got volatility. We've got things that could really divert us from planting the seeds that we actually want. And I say that to say that right now, so yesterday was the new moon. We're still in the energy of this moon, at least, until tomorrow night or at Wednesday morning, the latest. Um, this is very fertile energy, right? I want you to think of it as like a woman that's ovulating. It's like this energy is so fertile. And whether you intend to or not, you will be planting seeds at this time. It's really up to you to decide to be conscious of and be intentional about the seeds you are actually planting. With this volatile energy that we're still under, you could easily fall into the trap of planting seeds that you don't want. Maybe this has been a weekend when you've gotten into a fight with somebody. There are some harsh words that were exchanged. There's been power struggles, ego conflicts, fear, combativeness, right? Maybe there's a lot of that going on in your life right now. That could literally be a distraction to planting the seeds that you want, because Taurus is ruled by Venus. Venus is also not just about money and wealth and abundance, but also about peace and harmony, right? Maybe you want things in your life to settle down. Maybe you don't want chaos. Maybe you don't want drama in your life. But because of this volatile energy that's still in the cosmos, you may unwittingly or unknowingly plant seeds of chaos, plant seeds of fear, plant seeds of power struggles, of competition, of combativeness, because that's where you're directing your energy right now. So I say all of this to say we are in a very fertile time. So be careful with what you are planting. Sorry, it's like every time I start talking or divining or anything, my nose starts to itch like crazy. So if you see me touching my nose repeatedly, that's why. This is a very fertile time right now. So the question is, what are you planting? What seeds are you planting? And it may require you to walk away from an argument so that you're not planting seeds of chaos. Walk away from a power struggle so you're not planting seeds of powerlessness or fear. It may require you to sequester yourself even so that you're not, paying attention to all these dumpster fires and then planting chaos, fear, and all of these things so that you can focus on what you really do want to plant. Okay? It's like that's the most important thing because, don't get me wrong, we're always planting, right? Thoughts become things. But I want you to pay attention to the current astrology. The sun is currently in Taurus. Taurus is a fixed, grounded earth sign. Fixed being the key word. And if thoughts become things, right? Whatever you fix your mind to or whatever you are fixated on right now is what's getting planted. So tonight, even if it's for 5 minutes before you go to sleep, even if you've got to lock yourself in the bathroom, let's say if you've got a house full of kids, husband, and all these things, take 5 minutes and figure out, what seeds am I planting right now? What do I want to give life to? You may want to revisit some of the feelings. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mia. Thank you. You may want to revisit the feelings perhaps that you felt during Aries season, right? Aries is the natural new year, of course, but it's also when we get ignited about things. Those things that we're passionate about, those things that we're fired up about, those are likely the seeds that you want to plant right now. Maybe during Aries season, you were like, listen, I need to get my finances in order, or I'm trying to pay off this debt, or I'm trying to buy a new car, or I want to be in a relationship. Whatever it is, revisit those feelings, those passions that were likely ignited during Aries season and focus on planting those. Don't give your attention to the dumpster fires. Don't give your attention to the people that want to fight with you. Like I said in my live on Instagram on Saturday, like this Mars opposite Pluto transit, these are people who want all the smoke and they're with the shits. Like people want to fight right now. People want to express themselves. They want to express their anger. And if you're caught up in battling with them, if you're caught up in, feeling however they're trying to make you feel or projecting their feelings onto you, those are going to be the seeds that you plant. And we don't want that. We don't need that. This is a fresh new cycle. Think of it this way. Have you ever seen like a garden or even a flower pot when it's got fresh soil? It's springtime. There's a little bit of warmth in the air. Perhaps it rained not long ago, and that smell of earth that's just like ready for all the seeds, right? That's the energy that we're in right now. So limit the distractions, walk away from the fights and the arguments, and focus on what you truly want, what you truly want to plant at this time. And again, if you want some help with that, my Taurus season wealth map drops tomorrow. Take advantage. All right. And so then apart from that, we don't really have much else going on this week. We've got one transit, plus we've got at the end of the week Pluto going retrograde, which isn't as big of a deal as it seems, but I'll get into that when I get into the forecast. All right. But of course, let's talk about the theme for the week before we get into the details. And the theme for this week is want it, get it. All right. Because Venus is moving into Aries. Okay. And so Venus has been on a very, I love when that happens. All of these go off at once. Venus has been in a very interesting kind of dance, interesting kind of journey, right? She's been retrograde. Now she's finally direct. And everything that she has experienced over the last 2 months, right? Well, I should say over the last 2 months. She's going back over them. So over the last, since March 12th, right? No, I'm sorry, April 12th is when Venus went direct. Since then, she has been reiterating certain themes that have been playing out since February or perhaps even since January, okay? So this week with Venus entering Aries again, this is about if you want something, if you desire something, go get it. Plain and simple. Venus in Aries loves the chase. She's very direct. She doesn't beat around the bush. She fixates on something. Fixate, I want to say, is the word of the week because the sun is in Taurus. The ruler of Taurus is Venus. Venus is in Aries, which is very fixated on a particular thing, very passionate about a certain thing, almost to the point of obsession. So again, it's a reminder to check what you are fixated on. Plain and simple, right? But again, Venus in Aries, she's spicy, she's bold, she's direct, she wants something, she gets it, that's it. There's no hemming and hawing. There's no, I don't know. The thing about Aries is Aries is so fiery. Aries forgets to be insecure. Aries forgets to be fearful. Aries wants something so much that it's just like, this is it. This is what I'm going after. So pay attention to where Aries is in your natal chart. This is where Venus is entering. And this is where you can have something, possess something perhaps that you want, right? This is your chance to really go after it. One of the things I love to talk about when Venus is in Aries is shooting your shot, right? And it's not even so much in the sense of relationships. It's with anything. You want that job? Send that resume, even if you feel like you may be underqualified, right? You want to be friends with someone, you want a mentor, you want whatever, go after it. You want this material thing, start saving for it, like aggressively, right? That's the energy that Venus is giving right now and is at our disposal. And this is great and sort of counteracts some of that tough energy we've been dealing with Mars opposite Pluto. Okay. So fixate, fix your mind, fix your emotions, fix your passions on what it is that you want, and starve what you do not want at this time. All right. So that's the theme for the week. So speaking of the week, let's get into it and see what we've got going on. So, like I said, kind of light, not too much going on. So, of course, we've got Venus entering Aries first and foremost. Then we've got Venus conjunct Neptune again in Aries. And this is another, well, it's not, I'll say this. Venus entering Aries is the universe kind of being like, listen, I said this before, I'm going to say it again. I said what I said. Venus conjunct Neptune, kind of the same. But since Venus has gone direct, Neptune has actually moved from Pisces to Aries. So this Venus conjunct Neptune feels the same, but is a little spicier. But I'll get into that in a second. And then at the end of the week, we've got Pluto going retrograde. Okay. So let's see what the moon is doing this week. So as we are moving away from the new moon, we're moving into the waxing phase of the moon. So we've got the waxing crescent in Gemini, waxing crescent in Cancer, and then we end the week with the first quarter moon in Leo. All right, so without further ado, let's jump right into the details of the week, and we begin with Tuesday. So on Tuesday, we have the waxing crescent moon in Gemini. All right, so let's see what this looks like on the chart. All right, so you'll see at the bottom right-hand portion of the chart, you will see the moon at 0 degrees of Gemini. All right, so whenever the moon is in Gemini, it's always very youthful, very busybody kind of energy. And with the moon waxing in Gemini, these are sort of the first steps we're taking from that new moon in Taurus. So new moon in Taurus is like plant the seeds, baby. Fixate on something and plant those seeds. Now, when the moon is waxing in Gemini, now you're going to start talking about it, right? One of the things I love about the moon in Gemini, particularly when it is waxing, it's great for accountability, right? If the seeds that you're planting, let's say the seed that you're planting for this new moon in Taurus is handling some debt, right? Maybe there's a credit card that you want to pay off. Now, with the moon waxing in Gemini, sort of the best way to stay on track with this is to have an accountability partner, right? So someone who will keep you on track, someone who will tell you, listen, I thought you said that you wanted to pay off this credit card, but I see you shopping today, or I see you ordered Uber Eats like 4 times this week, like someone to really keep you accountable. I feel like that's a great use of the energy. The other great use of the energy when the moon is waxing in Gemini is to learn or even teach. So let's say, right, to use the same example, that you want to pay down some credit card debt. That's the seed that you're planting at that new moon in Taurus. Moon in Gemini is like, all right, so let me research ways to do this quickly or efficiently, or different ways that I can make this happen, or talk to people. Maybe someone has advice that they can give you in terms of how they did it or what worked for them. Long story short, Gemini is about communication. So when the moon is waxing in Gemini, particularly after this new moon in Taurus, it's like, okay, let me find people who can help me. Or let me talk about this. Let me communicate what I'm doing so that I can get assistance or advice or whatever it is, right? So be vocal, exercise that throat chakra, get an accountability partner, have someone help you, research, and figure out the best way to facilitate the seeds that you have planted at that new moon in Taurus. All right. So that's Tuesday. So now let's move into Wednesday. So on Wednesday, we've got Venus entering Aries, like I talked about before. Let's see what this looks like on the chart. So you will see at the upper right-hand corner in light blue, you've got Venus at 0 degrees of Aries. All right. So Venus has been here before, right? Because Venus was retrograde. Now she's sort of retracing her steps, right? So Venus in Aries is like, listen, I want it, I get it. The thing that I want to take the fastest and the shortest route to get there. It's all about being direct. And with Venus being the planet of desire and the sun currently in Taurus, which is ruled by Venus, and Taurus is about desire, pleasure, all of those things. I want you to really be intentional about infusing pleasure and infusing feeling good into the space that we're in right now, in the sense that manifestation should be a pleasurable thing. Often we treat it as something to do, right? Because of the society conditioning that we are subject to. It's this hustle grind. Everything sort of ends up becoming a chore, right? But infusing pleasure, and this doesn't mean, it doesn't even have to be related to the seeds that you're planting at this new moon, right? It could just be finding some joy or pleasure in your day, even if it's a minute, even if it's 5 minutes. That is helpful. That is how you work with the energy. And if you're new to this channel, if you're new to sort of how I teach things, this isn't just about spewing information at you. The sun is going to be here this day. The moon is doing this today. It's not about that. It's about how do I take this energy and fucking use it, right? There has to be a practical application to this. Because when you start living in alignment, not even so like alignment is sort of twofold. It's about what's in alignment for you personally and also what's going on cosmically at the time, right? So when you start living in alignment, that's when things actually flow. So because we've got Venus in Aries, because we've got the sun in Taurus ruled by Venus, pleasure is a priority right now. Make it so. Don't just, here's the thing. Taurus kind of gets this connotation of being lazy, wanting to take naps, wanting to be comfortable, and all of that is true, but don't get it twisted. Taurus is a hard worker. Taurus is the energy that builds the foundation, right? And building can be arduous, especially when you're at the beginning stages of building, right? When you're picking out the plot, and when you are excavating and when you are digging the hole so that you can pour the cement and start building that foundation, that can be arduous because you feel like you're still a ways away from the completed house, right? And that can be a little daunting. So Taurus, as hard as it works, it likes to feel good too. It likes pleasure. It likes a good meal. It likes a spa day. It likes a nice little treat, right? Infuse pleasure into it. At least I would say this during Taurus season, which will end on, let me give you the exact date, May 20th, right? So we have a little less than a month. Every day, do something pleasurable. Do something you enjoy. Maybe it's getting an ice cream. Maybe it's getting a great cup of coffee. Maybe it's buying yourself a little trinket. Maybe it's buying yourself a big trinket, right? Only you know. But infuse pleasure into everything that you're doing right now. Okay? It's important and it's the best use of the energy. All right? And so with Venus and Aries, it's about fixating on something, right? Being very direct about what it is that you want, blunt even, very crystal clear on what it is that you want and going after it. Point blank, period. All right. So that is Wednesday. Now we move on to Thursday. So on Thursday, kind of a light day, we have the waxing crescent moon in Cancer. All right. And so let's see what this looks like on the chart. So you'll see at the bottom portion of the chart, you will see the moon at 0 degrees of Cancer on Wednesday. All right. And so the moon is at home in Cancer. Cancer is the home sign of the moon. And so when the moon is in Cancer, we tend to be extra sensitive. We may be moody, maybe a little crabby, right? But when the moon is waxing in Cancer, this is when we water the seeds, right? So we planted the seeds at the Taurus new moon. We're planting those seeds right now because, like I said, we're still under the energy of that Taurus new moon. Then when the moon moves into Gemini, we are talking about it. We're researching, we're being vocal about the seeds that we've planted. And then come moon in Cancer, we are watering and nurturing them. So what does this look like practically? You give feeling and emotion to the seed that you're planting. Best use of this energy, again, to use this example of paying down like credit card debt, right? Waxing moon in Cancer is like, feel it already done. This is kind of twofold because I just said you want to infuse a little bit of pleasure every day during Taurus season, right? With the moon in Cancer, like, what does it feel like to actually, like, how would you feel if you actually paid off that credit card? Relieved, joyful, accomplished, especially if, paying down debt is challenging for you. That feeling is what's watering that seed. And the more feeling you give to it, the more water, the more nourishment, the more that seed can grow and become a reality. So again, just to reiterate, there are going to be a lot of dumpster fires. There is going to be a lot of volatility. It doesn't matter. Quiet all that noise. Turn off the TV. Get off social media. Water and nurture the seeds that you're planting with good emotions, with love, with tenderness, with accomplishment, with joy, with pleasure. When the moon is waxing in Cancer, that's the best use of the energy. Water and nurture the seeds you've planted. Okay? So that's Thursday. So now let's move on to Friday. So on Friday, we've got Venus conjunct Neptune in Aries. So let's see what this looks like on the chart. All right. So you will see at the upper left-hand portion of the chart, both Venus and Neptune are both going to be at the first degree of Aries. And this is significant because the first degree is the Aries degree, since Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. So, I said before, because Venus was retrograde and now she's direct, she's hitting the same planets that she did on her way in beginning in February, right? So we already had Venus conjunct Neptune before. But this is a little different because Neptune is now in Aries. So this is about starting something new. This is kind of reiterating the energy of that new moon in Taurus. It's actually like a reverberation of that energy. With both Venus and Neptune at that first degree, it's like starting something new that's tangible, that you're passionate about, that you want, that you desire. It could be financial related. It could be materialistic because, again, that is sort of the energy signature of Venus. It could also be a dream you've always had because Neptune is the planet of dreams. It's the planet of fantasy. It's the planet of imagination. But here's the thing. It's great to desire this, right? It's great to have this dream of something new that you want to have or possess. But the fact that both Venus and Neptune are in Aries means that you have to go after it. You have to put forth action. And trust and believe, it doesn't have to be a big action step. A lot of times you may think that you have to do the most right out the gate, and that's not true. Baby steps still take you there, but you have to take a step in that direction. You have to enact some sort of action. You have to do something, period, right? It's not enough to say, oh, I really want a new car, or I really want a new relationship, or I want to go back to school for this, but you're not putting it in an application. You're not being proactive about positioning yourself to find a mate. You're not saving money. You're not doing anything. So it ends up being a pipe dream. And then another cycle passes without you having the thing that you want. Venus conjunct Neptune is like, I want this. I get it, period. And I'm taking the steps. Not only are you taking the steps to facilitate, right? Like you're taking action, but you're taking action fearlessly. You're taking action from a place of, I have it already. That's the difference. No one is saying that you can't be scared, especially if it's something that you want that you've never had before, or it's something that you want that brings up trauma or, all of those kind of things. No one is saying that you have to, engage in toxic positivity and, oh, this is fine. No. But even if you're white knuckling it, even if you're scared shitless, you got to do something. You got to do something. It may not even be fear. It may be procrastination, laziness even. You got to get up and you got to do something. That is what's going to make all the difference. Okay. So that's Venus conjunct Neptune. All right. And that's Thursday. Oh, no, I'm sorry. That's Friday. And then now we get to Sunday. So on Sunday, we've got Pluto going retrograde in Aquarius, and we've got the first quarter moon in Leo. So let's take a look and see what this looks like on the chart. So at the very top, you will see Pluto is at 3 degrees of Aquarius, and it will begin its it's actually stationing retrograde on May 4th. And then directly opposite that, you've got the moon in Leo. All right. So I want you to notice this, right? They are almost, with the moon moving as quickly as it does, the moon will be opposite Pluto this week. Okay. As Pluto's about to go retrograde in Aquarius. And so this is important because let's talk about Pluto retrograde first. Pluto retrograde is taking the energy of Pluto, which is about death, rebirth, and transformation, and you're directing it inward, right? Typically, when Pluto is direct, this is when external circumstances may trigger a transformation, right? External circumstances may end or may begin, right? It's the cycle of life, but it's externally. When Pluto is retrograde, now it's like up to us to facilitate this internal work and this internal transformation. And then while Pluto's basically about to go retrograde, the moon is going to be opposite Pluto in Leo. It's going to be the first quarter phase. Now, the moon in Leo can be very prideful. It can be very passionate, loving, warm, right? And so when it's in the waxing phase, the moon in Leo is very main character energy. It's very following your heart, having the courage to follow your heart, to be authentic, perhaps to stand up and be a leader, to authentically express yourself, to be creative, right? And with Pluto about to go retrograde, you may find that this desire to be the main character, the desire to express yourself outwardly, is kind of frustrated by Pluto wanting you to address everything internally. So it's this push and pull between this external energy and this internal energy. And this pull may be quite dramatic. It may be quite intense because Leo is dramatic and Pluto is intense. So suffice it to say that by the end of the week, you may be wanting to do certain things, but feeling pulled to go within, at least initially. Now, the good thing I can say about Pluto retrograde is that because it's so far away from Earth and because it's known as a generational planet, you don't feel the effects of the retrograde as you would like a Mercury retrograde or even a Venus retrograde, right? And Pluto will be retrograde for close to 6 months. And this happens every year. As a matter of fact, every year Pluto spends about half the year retrograde, half the year direct. So it's nothing that you're going to feel super intensely. However, being that this channel is all about the practical application of astrology, this marks a period of about 6 months where you can do internal work to effect change in your life. I want you to take a look at where Aquarius is in your natal chart. This is where you can, if you are intentional about it, do the inner work in order to change that area of life. Like, let me give you a perfect example. For me, I'm a Taurus rising. Aquarius is actually my 10th house of career. So if I wanted to change my circumstances around my career, or my business, I should say, because I'm a business owner, I can commit to doing this internal work over the next 6 months. And it's a process. The way that Pluto works, it's not a wham, bam, thank you, ma'am kind of a thing. It's a process, oftentimes a slow process. Think of it as like a sculpture. You start off with just a block of material, let's say marble. You're a fancy sculptor, so you sculpt with marble, okay? Every day or every time you go to work on this thing, you chip away a little bit. And at first, there's no substance, there's no form to this block of marble. But as you keep chipping away diligently, you start to see the outline of whatever it is that you are creating. That's how Pluto works. And so if you use the energy to chip away little by little of doing the internal work, this again, where Aquarius is in your natal chart, that is where you can affect real, permanent, and profound change in your life. All right. And so that is how we end the week. Hey teen, how are you? I'm so glad that you were able to catch the live. Thank you for joining us as I'm ending, right? But that's pretty much what the week has in store. All right. So if I had to sum it up in a concise sentence or paragraph, right? Be mindful of what you are fixated on because those are the seeds that are being planted. Ignore the damn dumpster fires and the conflict and the chaos. If you want something, go after it and just get it. Take the action to get it. And if you're willing to commit to doing the internal work beginning this week, you can experience profound and permanent change in at least one area of your life. All right, my loves, thank you so much for tuning in. I sincerely appreciate you spending your time with me. You could be anywhere else, doing anything else, but the fact that you're here with me means more to me than you will ever know. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have an amazing week. Be on the lookout for my Taurus season wealth map service that drops tomorrow, as well as my new lunar living starter kit, which you can get right now. Link is in the description box below. Have a great week, and I will see you same time, same place, same me next week. All right, friends, take care.